We were on family, so let's talk about
We're doing the pros and cons thingy about.
The pros and cons of family.
Yeah, but do you like? Did you think of any?
I wouldn't consider myself a pro.
I mean, the pro is the constant support you can get from family.
Yeah, they're always there.
Or
Yeah,
they're
but not
never
when you.
there.
Yeah, when you need them the most.
Yeah, they're never there with me.
Or they're always there, but you don't like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Maybe
an
just have a
annoying
really
little sibling
toxic
or
family.
something.
No,
Which con are we talking about? CON or KAHN?
So I mean, let's just get down to it. When you look at this church, do you guys see a family?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yes.
so?
Because a lot of my family's here.
Oh, yeah, that.
A lot of my family here, because my family built this church, because I'm related to him. No, seriously though, when you guys look at this church, do you see family?
Yeah, there's a good sense of unity.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And usually,
You see family? Okay.
I feel like
Do
you
you?
go into a place where you don't feel welcome, then it's a constant state of awkwardness.
Do you see some family?
I see fire.
Okay. What about you, David? Do you see family here? Now let's talk about the church, the whole
Yes.
church, not just the youth program.
The whole church, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
You see family over in the main sanctuary?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're like saying that as if it's a negative. Yeah, totally see family. They're just always there, and it's so annoying. How so? Kind of.
I don't know, most of the adults were there.
Do you know most of your family? Do you have any estranged cousins that you've never seen because they live in a different state?
Several.
I do. My gay cousin. His name's Timmy.
You've never seen him, but you
All
know
right.
of
It's
him.
actually a true thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
so you don't know them.
Eric's son.
So it's hard to believe that they'll be there for you, as family should. Right? Yeah, sometimes it's hard to see.
Yeah, these small families within the church.
Okay.
And how they could connect as a big family.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't need to necessarily go into hell. That might be a very long discussion. Do you see the youth program as a family?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. We're just talking here.
Family used to be bigger.
The church is supposed to be a family and community. Sometimes it's hard to see overall. Like you might be able to see small sections that maybe act like family, that actually care about each other, that go and because like when I think of family, I think of sometimes they'll show up for a baseball game, basketball game, some sort of sports event, maybe a concert or something like that. And when Sarah and I, before we had kids, when we actually had more time, we actually tried to go to everything. We tried to go to graduations, to concerts, to events, everything like that, because we actually do. It's not like it's changed that the way that we view it. It's just harder.
We
for
had
us to
kids, you're
actually
now
follow.
replaced.
Well, it's harder for us to follow through on some time commitment and stuff.
I never told anyone about my anything, so nobody ever knew.
I know. So the
The only
funny
time I
thing,
ever went to one of his games was accidentally.
I didn't even tell when I graduated from
Your
college
school.
twice. The 2 times that I graduated from college for my bachelor's and for my master's. For my bachelor's, I didn't tell anyone. Nobody knew, and I didn't even tell like my own family. I didn't tell anybody because I was just like, I'm just graduating. Even though it is like one of the most significant things in my life, because me having a master's degree, I'm like the only one in my family to have one. So it's just interesting that I never actually.
At least you told them about your wedding.
Yeah.
You could have just not told
Yeah,
them.
it's funny with weddings though, because you send invites to people out of state, hoping that they'll say no, because you need the space for other people that you've invited. Like you don't actually have enough space for the amount of people that you've invited, because you're banking on people to say no.
And then they say yes, and you're screwed.
No, luckily they didn't for us. We had enough room.
But it's always the one that you want to come. don't come, and the ones that you don't want to come, you know.
Well, that's not always true either. You should want everyone there, Linda.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I'm
want
saying
anyone
is-
I don't-
that's
I
why
don't
I'm
know.
asking.
Yeah, my wedding.
I get what you're saying. Life doesn't always
My
happen.
best
Buddy,
man.
no.
That's it.
Yeah.
But like,
Best man and my dog.
so there are some family that you don't like, right?
Mm.
When you think about family, you're like, man, that person is annoying.
No, really.
Oh yes.
Man, that
You and your
uncle.
personality.
I got
Oh
one
my
uncle.
goodness,
I don't
can't
see a
believe
lot of
he's
my
part
family, so I don't
family.
get to.
I,
my dad says,
I've
so I don't
been
get to know
relating
it.
everything to recent TV shows I'm watching. And by recent, I mean old, because
He's rewatching Friends and relating
no,
back
not
to family.
Friends, not Friends.
Fresh
Sabrina,
Prince?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I told you about that from the other day, right?
That's a
Right,
good
what was,
one.
I like Fresh Prince.
what was the example I gave from the other day? What was that? I don't remember.
Some from the Talking Cat.
But I talked to you guys about it, right? The other day?
No.
So anyway, so that was last week, right? Wasn't it last week?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, so this week, what we watched, literally just watched yesterday, was they have magical powers, whatever. That is neither here
Nor there.
Walking back straight.
But they had, so either way, they still deal with some of the same issues. And so one of the issues they had was apparently their relatives were jealous that they got something in the will that someone else didn't get.
I see that a lot
You know,
on TV.
so it was because it was an item and they wanted it, but someone else got it. So instead of being like, hey, let's share it or anything like that, instead they used their magic and locked them in their house.
It's really hard to share a Camaro.
It's hard to share some things.
It's hard
But
to
anyway, so
money.
their family, like they came, they were at ends, they were fighting and stuff like that, and it was resolved by the end of the show, as most things are in shows, unless that's to be continued
Or
in-
large villain plot.
Or it's
Followed
The
by
Walking
dramatic
Dead.
But
That
but it was
when the
resolved.
series
But still,
ends.
the thing was, like these family members were family members that they really didn't like, that they didn't understand because it was like rich people versus hillbillies kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know that divide.
And so it was like they couldn't understand each other. They couldn't even get on the same page of knowing why they were even upset with each other to be able to try to resolve it because they were they were in two different
There's no
worlds.
point.
So that's sometimes another
divide
problem,
was
living in
surreal.
different places or being in different cultures or different things like that. But even though, so we're talking about the church family, right? But if you look at the church as a whole, not just the church right here, we've got family in many parts of the world. I mean, if you think of the way that we even focus on some things sometimes is we have sister churches, right? That's what they're called. So we have Pastor Don, who's still here. He just spoke today, in fact. So we have Pastor Don, and he has a sister church in Albany. And what are they called?
Good ground.
That's right, Good Ground. So that's their
I
church.
know.
We have another sister church in Florida. What are they called?
The Florida news.
Who's the pastor?
Oh.
Pastor Don Paul. We've got another sister church in New Jersey now.
New Jersey.
Who?
I don't know that one at all.
Pastor Daryl Copes.
He's got to cope with the Jersey
Right. So
news.
and then we've
Or
got
whatever you call
other
them.
churches. Then we've got the other churches that we've planted. Schenectady and Red Hook, Kingston. And then we've got all the churches that we've helped build in Africa, with Pastor Dongo, and different things like that. We've got lots of different churches, but that's just even the ones we're directly connected with. Then there's the churches that they go and they talk to in the Ohio trip. That's like the national, churches of whatever. I forget what they're called, but we're the connected churches where we all know each other and we know Leon Forte. He's got his own church somewhere. We know.
He's Ohio, right?
I think so. Yeah. That's where they're talking.
Oh.
So like that, we can't just look at the church that we have right here. We look at all those churches.
And then there's also churches that we've sent people out that go to, like Zach.
Yeah.
Moved away and he goes to his own church now and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So right. So that we would consider them extended family almost, right? Because they're further away, but they're still part of the church family, right? So it's hard to just put it in this small area, but the church as a whole is encompassing. There are people that we don't even know that are a part of our family. And some we may get along with, some we may not. Some we may understand, some we may not. some may just go to go and not even care about the community aspect, not even care about the people aspect. They just go to be selfish and just sit there, learn, leave. Don't talk to anyone. Don't hang out with anyone.
I want all of the Jesus.
But one of the reasons
Avoid
that we go
all
downstairs,
human
we
contact.
have food downstairs, and that Chris has pushed for us to be there with them, eating with them, and talking to them, the adults. By them, I mean the adults and the people in the sanctuaries, because we're trying to help expand the way that we feel about our own family. This is our family. Because that's the other thing is you may consider a pro and a con, but family are people that you're with forever. You know, when you have
Jacob, you're stuck with me.
when you have family, they are your family. I mean, you might be able to there are certain ways to like kick people out or to disown people or whatever, but they're still your family. You know, we talk about being blood related, but then we're also talking about
Blood brothers.
we're talking about adopted. We're talking about they're always your family. Your family is always your family. That doesn't change. You may bring more people into your family, but they're your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, that might be a good thing and a bad thing. You're either blessed with them forever or stuck with them forever, right? But they're still your family. So
Pretty blessed.
that's another thing that I.
No.
Family are usually related persons that are forced to be with each other in the same household. They see the good and the bad in each other, and still have to live together. You know, you see the mess that your sister or brother makes. You see the trouble they get into. You see the people that they bring home. Sometimes,
Oh yeah.
you know,
And then you just look for the good.
and you
keep looking.
you still have to live together. You still have to live with them and deal with them.
You don't even have to live with Caleb to see Caleb.
But here's the thing.
Oh, you know.
Here's the thing. If you can put up with each other and you learn to understand your differences and find some sort of common ground to get along, eventually you can end up growing closer together, and you know that you can actually trust them, rely on them, know that they'll always be there for you. You know that family is not just the people that you're stuck with, but it's the people that could possibly be the biggest encouragers, and be the biggest supporters of what you want to do, even if they don't always agree with it. Sometimes they'll back you up because, you know, hey, it's my bro, it's my sis, you know, whatever. Growing up, I never actually grew up with brothers and sisters. So my biggest supporter was my mother. Sometimes I didn't want her to support me.
And the lesbian witches.
Because she was like, no, why you, Jacob? My life should be in a bottle.
That is the most memorable.
Should be a locked book.
Well,
In the
my
bottom,
mother
yeah.
got strange friends when she was in Colorado.
Here you go.
Colorado also consequently was one of the first states to legalize everything.
Yeah.
Sure. So just put that in perspective. Of
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
But they support
My
you
friend-
and door with you through the ups and downs and stuff like that. You know, no matter how much you may be at ends with your sister, if she gets hurt by a guy, you're probably gonna want to go beat the crap out of him.
Yep.
No comment.
Just say.
No comment.
I ain't gonna beat a girl.
That counts as a beating, but
Exactly my point of no comment.
So another. I am engulfed and completely like in nothing but like animated